Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. And in the last episode, guys, we went down to the Eye's central control and started to plant soil in there to allow the gardener to access the systems. While there, we encountered the navigator, who we have not seen in quite some time. And after explaining the plan, it looks like the navigator is on board and will actually guide the gardener to the different systems that we needed to gain control of in order to stop the Shadow Protocol. Now, also, we're helping the Flotilla Navy, and in doing so, I think we're going to be saying some goodbyes, specifically Tala. Tala was over here, and when we finished repairs here, because this ship is actually going to be leaving the flotilla and heading out into the Starward Belt with the Singers, Tala was going to join them. And in our conversation, which I guess ended up being the final conversation between the two, Tala offered Sleeper the keys to the Bantayan, which apparently is now ours. So, yeah. Tala has given us the bar. We can cook mushrooms and stuff, and that's kind of crazy, for sure. Let's go ahead and get some mushrooms right now, or get some food in us, and continue on with our adventure. So if we decide to stay here at the Eye, which has kind of always been my plan, Sleeper has a job and like a home, a business to call his own. So that's pretty cool. Alright, to the dust houses. We've got one more. Let's see if we see any bad, or not bad guys, but let's see if we have any goodbyes here. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, the one where plants from the Greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces, the pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellowing lichel symbiotes. It's a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and the dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open, and assuming it's Aki, you turn to greet her.
Sleeper, I should have known you've been here.
Riko smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch.
You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Riko! Now, has it been so long?
She smiles a wry smile.
No need for any drama. I met some of the steppe refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly.
She smiles to herself.
Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see, and, well, I think I'd take her up on the offer.
She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem.
I have to say, I'm glad I did.
I'm glad too.
I can see that.
Riko limps over to you. She holds out a hand.
How about you take me on a tour?
You take Riko's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichel growths, or lichel growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help herbaceous Greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together.
I know something is happening with the Eye, Sleeper.
She looks out at the plants.
We all felt the flux event hit and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all.
You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes.
And I think I have decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here is incredible. A whole new strange ecosystem built from the artificial, changed remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the Eye. tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle. She frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, that's time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I'll lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles. The tear tracks down both cheeks. And when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. You could leave, Rico. Rico nods. You know, Sleeper, when you get to my age, you stop thinking about what you could do and try better understand why it is you act as you do. Why it is. I know I will stay. I just need to understand it. She wipes her eyes and turns to you. But that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is what you are planning. I'm staying. Rico smiles. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper. To know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know. But you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Oh! She suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing clubheads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She looks down at her feet. And if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that at least. I won't need them, Rico. I'm staying. She shakes her head. Just in case. Rico stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them into the soil there, with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while. She calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around. She says it casually, but there's a note of finality to her speech. See you around. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock, back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She's looking through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Rico with her hands in the soil. Ah! The botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? More than that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the Greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? Yes. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path, she smiles. A farewell from my world. And I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last warm smile, before turning and entering the dust house. You watch as she walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist and you see her pointing to the club heads, asking questions. You're unable to hear them, but despite that you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the club heads, the Greenway, and much, much more. You turn,
leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Rigo and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Oh, man. Okay. Reroll. Oh, that's not good. Alright. Big bucks, no whammies. Holy crap, we did it. Okay. Well, we lost energy too, but they just keep coming. Perhaps the Flux event scared enough people that they really believe the Eye will collapse. Perhaps they're sick of Haven Age, of the Council's infighting and the hardliners. Or perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future. A place that's anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla shuttles, on their own ships, however they can. You've seen so many faces pass that they're almost meaningless now. A parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the berths you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity. Some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still you help. Still you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul. You know he's busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work. Trying to fit as many people as will come onto the Pilgrim Seed. You know you'll see him before this is all over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The Eye is over. That's the thought. That the Eye, even if the Flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when this flood of people are leaving it behind? It's a thought that troubles you, because it makes you question why you've held on here for so long, in a place that seems so temporary for so many people. Are you just a stubborn idiot? Someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong, committed for lasting the storm, for seeing the collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there is something you are sure of now. This place, like all places, is temporary. As each face passes you, each family packs up and gets on board the Pilgrim Seed, it feels ever more temporary, even more fragile. Which means it's either desperately needs protecting, or it desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. Oh, we got our upgrade points, so we have 3 points now. Hard to kill or obsessive haggler. I think definitely if Sleeper has earned anything, it is the ability to be hard to kill. And I think that is it for the refugees. Holy crap. I don't see anything else that's popped up here. So we need to crash out and get the system going. And I think that might be it. This story has been awesome. All of the DLC, from the first DLC onward, has been great. Now, there is something I do want to check, though. Remember when Navigator said that he was found a place to hide? No, that thing is still there. Still very confuzzled by that. Oh well. We'll find that out in Citizen Sleeper 2, The Quest for More Mushrooms. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and pay. I know we have our own place now, technically, but we still want to keep Emphas going. And feed our kitty. Call it a cycle. Oof. That's probably one of our worst rolls we've had in a bit. Oh, on. Get some more scrap in us. The thing is, the eye has everything that we need. We have friends here. And, a source of food, a source of energy. We've created a really good life for ourselves here. And now, it is time to go ahead and hack this interface and see what's what. Okay. I did it. I did the thing. Now what? I guess we need to cross to the Greenway. Oh. Okay. Maybe it needs time to actually pass through Briar Base Camp for a staging ground. Yeah, I think that might actually be the case. It'd be cool if you actually saw the gardener start moving through everything. Okay. Repaired units. Yeah, I don't have the control center anymore. Emphystall. I guess we have to kind of wait for the flux to actually happen before anything else goes down. So let's go ahead and do this instead. We'll go across the Greenway. We are going to harvest some mushrooms. Lovely. Reroll. Get those going. And we got plenty of spores. Good lord. Do we? And start that action because we went overboard when we were trying to mess up how everything was going. Okay, lovely. And then we'll head over to the commune here, just because we can. And a work assignment for some energy. And there we are. Now let's go ahead and crash out here at the Briar Base Camp. Maybe it needs another day for stuff to happen. Because they said they couldn't do it right before the flux arrived. There it goes. Peake's slate chirps in your pocket, and you take it out. A message. The connection's ready. Meet me at the Founder's Gap, Greenway side. Peake. You clench your jaw. It's time. Okay, Flotilla Navy. Oh, they're gone. They took off. Holy crap. Okay. Founder's Gap. You find Peake waiting near where you first met, at the entrance to the docking tunnel for the Founder's Ferry. They're leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how different they look from when you first met. There's a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word. Solid. Sleeper? They spot you and a small smile crosses their face. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else. The smile grows. Crunch time. They shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel, into a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into the darkness. They poke their slate and a torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Peake talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye and find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Peake ducks through a fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines. So this place has always been on borrowed time. I've managed to weave together the old connections and run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile, just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Eshe would be proud if she'd bothered to help. As Peake goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage, with compartments on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see where Peake has levered off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it snakes off into the dark ahead. Its yellow rings make it look like some huge and exotic serpent. You did all this? Peake nods. It was an interesting challenge. Plus it helped me keep my mind off things. Peake smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one. The ends separate, fitted with multi-pin male and female connectors and braced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peake shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing their hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause. Or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. It isn't crazy. Peake nods. I mean, I'm not being funny, Sleeper, but this whole thing seems crazy to me. Peake shakes their head. Leaving Hawthorne with Eshe, joining the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the flux, the shadow, everything. So I suppose this is at least somewhat consistent with all that. They take a deep breath. Okay. They look at you with mild panic. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it closed. Here we go. Peake wrenches the framework closed, and the connectors thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridor, into the dark on both sides. Both you and Peake wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you're waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning or lurch on its axis? For the power to go out or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peake's eyes, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand to their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and we're expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that's been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and writhes there, like liquid roots. Peake sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least. But it is everywhere, and now it is out. Can't be put back in, that much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil soaking up the gardener in their chorus, the gaps filling with a burbling, constant growing life. Peake stares at you, waiting for something, anything. Gardener is free. Peake nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Peake's slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process. But when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. What happened? Peake's mouth falls open. It's Eshe. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they've turned away and are moving back up the passage, back towards the entrance. Peake! They don't turn, don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by their slate's torch, disappear rapidly around a corner. You take out the slate Peake gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around you look like pale roots in the harsh light, and you turn away from them. They are gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Peake, panicked, running towards the cordon, realizing that their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they'll be able to persuade Eshe to stay. If Eshe is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You're not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way back out into the lit corridors of the Founder's Ferry dock. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hands. Now, Sleeper, there's no need to fear. He raises his eyebrows. I understand now it's by mistake to try and force you. A miscalculation. Why are you here? Good. Questions are good. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I am more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you here, Sleeper. Castor stands to the side. But I wish to speak. Sure. You stop, giving Castor his opportunity. Castor nods. At first I thought that, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of your particular talents was the opportunity. He smiles a broad smile. But you are more than that, and I understand that now. Your arrival on this station, your ability to touch the networks, this makes you the very definition of a wildcard. He touches the rim of his glasses. Senate stats analysis, my analysis, we could never have accounted for you. This system, the Helion system, is about to experience a significant change. About to open up to Senate stats bailiffs, Conway's claimants, and every industry and element an active KAN channel brings. Yet this very cycle, you let another wildcard free. Gardener. I have to admit, this development makes me afraid, Sleeper. It makes me afraid what an intelligence like this will sacrifice to protect itself, or what atrocities it might commit through madness. And yet, Castor's eyes glint. What a compelling object such an intelligence is. Let me protect you. Mark you out. Keep Senate Stat from eliminating by force or legal expediency you, as they will with every other squatter on this ring. Castor claps their hands together. And in exchange, when Senate Stat comes for this place, you facilitate the handover. You calm the protocols, and you give us the gardener. Never. Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. Disappointing. You begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly, an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You are of great value. If you ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is his slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or just another differential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way. You're done with him. You head toward the cordon, Peake and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. Ooh, that went a whole lot better than I thought it was going to. Holy crap. Okay, guys. Well, I guess we need to try and see, or at least going to see what happens with Peake and Eshe. And we still have a time down, so I don't know if this is the last bit of the DLC, but I guess we will find out in the next episode. Hope you all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.